You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. I'm back again. Unfortunately, I found actually way too many stories. I just keep on seeing stuff over and over, more and more. And now it's just out of control. I got at least 20 or 30 stories. I don't know how well I'm going to read through those. Probably not that well at all. I'm keeping my levels up on my mic because it sounds, I think, a little bit better. I haven't listened to my shows lately. It's kind of funny, though. My ratings, I should check, for in France has actually moved up. But probably the reason for that is, realistically, it's not that I'm getting more people. I'm actually getting less in the U.S. So the little statistics I had in France has actually moved up now. I'm not complaining. It looks impressive, but it's just give me a false hope that I'm actually getting more people from overseas or just in general. Yeah, because it says France today was 9.2% of my listeners. And the U.S. is 90.8%. But be realistic again, it's just because, you have 2 listeners from France and 3 from, or 1 from U.S., it's going to make it look that you're actually going up. Because I started out at 5%, I moved up 4%. Anyway, the places in the U.S. are Dover, Delaware, Coatesville, Pennsylvania, Norristown, Pennsylvania, Danville, Pennsylvania, which I keep on thinking Danville's in Jersey, because I remember that was one of the places where I work, one of the locations of a facility is they have one in Danville. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Telford, PA, Pennsauken, New Jersey, and Quakertown, PA. So it's pretty impressive. It's just, you're seeing these statistics, but the statistics are on 100% and really don't mean much of anything, simply because they only look good for overseas and stuff, just because I don't have that many people. And less in the U.S., more so. I have stories on everything and anything under the sun. So problem is, I don't know where to start. They're all over the place. I'm just telling you now. None of my stories are consistent in any one thing or shape or thing, whatever you want to say. They're all over the place. So generally, it's just really difficult for me, honestly, to kind of categorize them. I mean, it's just a podcast I do just to, keep in practice on this, trying to do podcast. So, good and bad about that. They just end up, the stories just end up all over the place. Again, so I'll just read them off because I got at least 20 or 30 stories. The first couple, I will tell you right now, are obviously, sorry, I just had an article on Gwyneth Paltrow. I actually really like her, so I'm going to post that up. I don't like her politics. I just like her. I just like, she was on Glee, and she was really good. She's actually in those Iron Man movies, and I like those. So, hey, since I posted it up, I might as well read it. It's totally fucked up. Self-styled health guru Gwyneth Paltrow admits she doesn't wear sunscreen while tanning, despite her preaching the benefits of to Goop readers. The 43-year-old actress revealed that despite her constant talk on healthy living, she does not always use SPF at the beach, so she doesn't practice what she preaches. That's not really healthy either. I don't know why she would do that. But I do like her acting. I don't like her politics. I just love her acting. I'm not even kidding either. But speaking about Gwyneth Paltrow, and she was on Glee, it reminded me, because last night I actually watched, it was a 3-hour thing, I think. At least with the commercials, it was close to 3 hours. It was on Fox's network, which I was able to pull up on my Apple TV box for that Grease Live. And honestly, I don't think it was that great. I agree with my parents. My parents said the same thing. They liked the movie better. Excuse me, but I try to explain to them, that movie is based upon a... Excuse me about that. The movie is based upon a play. I mean, it was a Broadway play, I think, or something like that. Musical. Grease was. And it was so popular, they actually had to hold back, but the movie came about because of being so popular as, a musical. Sorry, I had to grab something to drink. So anyway, I don't know who knows that and who doesn't. But today I did go on my excursion. I'm sorry I don't have the card available. I thought I would. But I did go over to this place. It's almost like equivalent to going to a holistic place for rejuvenating your hair. Like, it's not guaranteed to grow hair, but it's going to keep what you have and not lose it. Now, I was saying the other day, I thought I saw a big bald spot on the one side of my head. It was bothering me a lot. But basically, when I went, they said, you don't have a bald spot there. It's basically your hair is a lighter color, because I have really dark hair, so to speak. But most of my hair now is gray. Like 90% of it is, over 90% of it is gray. So that particular area is just like a patch of really light hair, which is basically gray, or gray is actually is a delusion, because I've heard that gray hair is actually, technically it's white. It looks gray to the naked eye, but it's really white. So anyway, I went to this place called Stylorama, and Style, it's S-T-Y-L Rama. And I had this consultation. It was free, and they said, well, right now you don't need any hair weave or any type of wig. And it's like, well, that's the last thing I want to do anyhow. That's what I was trying to avoid, because that just makes it like, my father's, he's like a chrome dome. He's got no hair on the top and like really thick hair on the sides of his head. And, if it comes to it, because that was my biggest thing I'm always afraid to do, is lose my hair. As you get older, you lose a certain amount of hair. It just does not regrow. It's just because you lose hair all the time. So, that being said, it was like, okay, I just don't want to lose any hair, any more hair. I used to have really, really thick hair. Now it's very thin. You can see the scalp, but it's not bald as I thought it was. Excuse me, or as bald as I thought it was. So that's a good sign. She said you do have a line going across the back of my head that is like pretty much thinned out. And I've had that issue since I was in my 20s. So, and it's like, that's been an issue pretty much since I got in my late 20s. It's nothing new, because I was dating some girl, and the girl used to always pick on me, and she says, oh, yeah, you're going bald in the back. I never noticed that before, and it really bothered me, because, I'm very self-conscious about going bald. So, bottom line is that hasn't changed in the past 30 years or 20-some years. So I'm not that upset, but she said, we do, you get one free test if you want to, one free shot, where they try that laser surgery. Basically, they stimulate your scalp, which basically helps your hair follicles get thicker. Could cause some, a little bit of regrowth, but bottom line is it's not going to really... It's not going to guarantee to grow your hair back, but it's going to at least help your hair from losing any more, strengthening the hair you do have, hold on to the hair you have, and it could grow possibly. Because I looked it up, it says, it can actually grow hair too, the laser, by stimulating, the pores in your head, whatever, the scalp, I forget, the follicles. So it's like, I'm willing to try that. It was like, first one was free. Then they gave you some type of vitamin for your head that actually works. You just put it on once a day, like a little bit. I don't need a whole heck of a lot. It should last about a month. The bottle was like about 30-some bucks. And the laser thing was free. So she says, if you want to do that, you know, you can do it once a week. It's like $50 a week. And, you know, you spend on this treatment like a half an hour. And, you know, you might see results right away. And she says after you see the results, you don't have to come as often. You don't have to come once a week, maybe once every couple months. You know, and I figured, well, $50 is much better to get a hair transplant where it could look like literally plugs in your head. I mean, I've seen that, and a friend told me about that. He says, yeah, you ever see those people get those hair transplants? Most of the time they look really bad. And they do, like they say, sorry, I'm itching my ear, grafted and stuff, but sometimes it's still just, you know, you're taking hair, like individual hairs, and plugging them in. And I've seen people that have that, and it looks really bad. It does. It's like lawn, you know, putting lawn food out. Grass seed down on your lawn, and like putting the seeds like in, you know, when it's starting to grow in, how you could see between the dirt on the ground. But that's what your hair looks like. It looks like it's little individual, like very far apart, you know, like blades of grass, but it's hair. It's not green, it's brown or whatever your color your hair is, but it looks bad. That's the bottom line. So and plus it's a couple grand, and it's not guaranteed, you know. One of the things I looked up, I told a friend, is where it was at this hospital, they actually cut sections of your scalp away where there's like no hair, and they tighten the skin on your head and like basically drag over where your hair is already grown, that you actually do have hair. And they can do that, but it was like, what if you're, you know, I'm not that bad, but if you have large sections, like some of these people, what do you do? Cut the entire top of their scalp off and then drag the skin across their head? I doubt that. But that, you know, there's different procedures they do. I think they do it in slivers, though, too. They can't do anything that large. I was joking about that. There's another story on that girl that got killed from Virginia Tech, or, you know, at Virginia Tech. I'll have to look at that next. But, you know, I figured, hey, $50 a week isn't too bad. It's not going to break the bank. I'm actually kind of willing to try that for a couple of weeks, whatever, if I can afford to do it. And in addition, another problem I've had, it's all stuff that's basically with age, is I was going to get liposuction at one point. It was like, well, that's like $3 or $4 grand too, or $3 grand. It's like, yeah, I don't have that kind of money to, you know, not that you put it out, but, you know, you basically, it's money you have to pay back, and it's a lot of money. So I can't really afford to do that right now. So I figured, well, I'll just watch what I eat, and I do. I actually eat one meal a day, and I take a protein drink for the rest of the day, and I just basically, you know, live on liquids, water, and bagels. And you think, like, I mean, I've cut back literally from eating all the time, like, different meals. Not that I was overweight a lot. I was like 10 pounds overweight. To now gaining an extra, in addition to the 10 pounds I'm trying to lose, gained another 3 or 4 pounds. And I went to the health food store today, and she says, yeah, the last thing you want to do is cut back on what you eat, because what happens is your body just goes into a starvation mode where any food it does consume, it's going to automatically store as fat, you know, because you're telling your body, like, listen, I'm not going to give you any more food. You're not going to get any more food. So it basically stores everything right away, like, oh, my God, he's actually feeding me. Your body's saying that, and it just stores it automatically as fat. It doesn't even try to burn it off. So it's like, okay, so I'm going to have to redo how I eat and not just starve myself to death like I've been trying to do, because it's been a complete failure. So I went to the health food store. I heard about that, and I know a friend that's on a diet right now. I told him on a voicemail, yeah, I thought this was a little ridiculous. Like, he's on a diet where he doesn't even eat breakfast, it was suggested. Basically, you don't eat anything at all here and there. And she was telling me that it's, you know, hey, it'll work, but there's repercussions too. But one of the ones I was mentioning to him, and it was like, yeah, I'm kind of falling in the same boat. I got to remember, eat better. It's very important that your first meal of the day is, like, you know, you eat the most calories, because you have all day to burn it off in your body, or be in that mode. Okay, I got enough food, you know, at least get, you know, it gives you a kickstart basically. But by starving your body, even by early in the morning when you get up, when you need that extra amount of calories or whatever to burn just to get you up and going, you're not doing yourself a favor. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to definitely reconsider how I eat. Maybe eat. And a friend said this too: you eat smaller meals during the course of the day. My mother said that too. You're better off than eating like one large meal and not eating the rest of the day. You're really just going to kill yourself. And then if you eat too much food, obviously that's not good. But so I got this thing. It's CLA. It's the abbreviation. Conjoined. Well, yeah, I'll just say CLA. Now that's got something in there, and it's funny though. It's been proven now. That's the big new fad for this holistic thing. Is you take this CLA at least twice or 3 times a day. You take like a couple. Okay, this is 1,000 milligrams. I'll be taking it twice a day, so it's going to give me at least. And you take 2 of them, so you're taking 4,000 units a day. I'm going to be taking of this CLA, and it's supposed to help. Basically, it's geared to help you lose weight in your gut area, around your waist, where people really just put on the pounds. Now, I looked it up. I did some research, and where you find the CLA, where it's is in meat. It's like, well, I love meat. Trust me. Steaks and stuff. So I guess if it's a lean protein steak, there was that Atkins diet, and there was people who basically their cholesterol went up at first, but then it dropped, and they were able to lose tons of weight by just eating pure beef all the time. Well, it's probably going to be lean cuts, obviously, but that's where CLA is one of the areas one of the natural food products you will find the CLA in. I'm just going to take the capsule form. But yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. I always thought certain things they say, oh, that's bad for your health. It's going to kill you and everything. Like you find out later on, it's like, oh no, we were wrong about that. They said eggs are bad for your health, because of the cholesterol. Then you find out, well, eggs are the highest source of protein. Yeah, it's got cholesterol, but if you eat it in the proper moderation, it's not going to kill you. It's actually going to benefit you. So this food for thought, no puns intended. Anyway, since I pulled up, I want to read this because I read this story, similar story. It now hit the Daily Mail. I don't know how old this article is. It was just a couple days ago. I think I read this on a different source. 13-year-old girl mother breaks down as police reveal how her daughter was stabbed to death by a Virginia Tech student that she met on a anonymous apt Kirk. That's that girl. I think she had liver problems. I didn't know, but they're saying now she got stabbed to death. A 13-year-old who was having a sexual relationship, I'm sure, was somebody that was a college student. Tammy Weeks, her last name is Weeks, as in weeks, days of the, you know what I mean, calendar weeks, spelled the same way. The mother of the murdered teen, Nicole Lavelle, broke down in tears as the press conference at the press conference on Tuesday. At the press conference, police revealed that the 13-year-old girl had been stabbed to death. Virginia Tech student David Eshar, 18. I apologize. I get everybody's name wrong. Like my favorite show of Glee with Leah. I thought it was Leah Michael. It's actually Leah Michelle. She's got two girl names, 2 last names. Leah Michelle. So I got her name really fucked up. Yeah, this girl, anyway, I was telling you about this article. She was stabbed to death by this Virginia Tech student. So I'm not going to mention his name again and mess it up. He was 18 years old. And Natalie Keepers, 19, had been arrested in the connection to Lavelle's death. So it was 2 people who stabbed this little girl to death. Not just 1, 2. Keepers was initially charged with accessory after the fact and improper disposal of the body. On Tuesday, the prosecutors upgraded those charges to accessory before the fact to first-degree murder. It is believed that Lavelle met this person online, this guy, and through anonymous texting apps called Kirk or Kike. It's K-I-K. So I don't know how you pronounce that. So I apologize. I'm not trying to be derogatory on the way I'm pronouncing. I just don't know how to. So it's a pretty lengthy article. It got It has a lot of pictures, a picture of this young girl who I remember when I originally read this. I thought she had some liver problems too. So these two college kids killed her. It was a guy and a girl. And they're showing, I didn't read the whole article because I'm just afraid of really botching up a story of something this sad, with this poor girl. But it looked like they had it says on Sunday, troopers searched a place called Duck Pond and Blacksburg as a part of the investigation into this Lavelle's death. So, yeah, they had to, basically comb this pond. So, I don't know if they actually physically found the body or she came up missing, but they were going through this pond. I mean, that's pretty sad. I mean, these people stabbed this poor girl to death and didn't dispose of the body right. So that the indication is they did a Norman Bates and just basically dumped her in a lake or a pond for this matter. So, I don't know. A lot of my stories, these are just goofy stories, but it's all with some type of issues with minorities, these migrants, with these sex rapes. I was going to say sex scandals, but these rapes. And today I got so angry, I just started sending them to a friend. It was like, listen, because sometimes my one friend says, I just talk about this way too much. It's not going to change the issue, and it's just, it's not even worth talking about. But it's not him. It's just, I don't look for this stuff. Honestly, I got all my stuff. All my links are for, what do you call it? It's for these, I'm trying to think, conservative website things that I just basically link them right to my Facebook. So it just saves me a lot of time. I have conservative news, Drudge Reports, Breitbart. I always get that wrong. And a lot of other ones linked to my Facebook page. So if there's any breaking stories, it's they go directly to my Facebook page where I can just basically pull them up back at the the site. Not from Facebook. Facebook just gives me the link to go to then to the I like to call it a virtual newspaper clipping online. So but all of them today were these thugs beating, raping kids or adults. One was a story which I will get to because sometimes I say I'll get to this and I never do. I totally forget about it or I shut it down. So I hope I don't do that. Where it was this veteran. He served overseas, and they were even saying this guy served overseas. He comes back to his hometown, and he gets basically brutally beaten up by 3 thugs who severely beat the guy as he was pumping gas. He just came back from the military. He was a vet. He served overseas in I'm going to say Afghanistan, or my dad always gets that wrong too, or Iraq, and he comes back and he gets the shit beat out of him at a gas station, minding his own fucking business, and to the point that he's out cold, he's not even moving. And then they said somebody runs over him with their car at the gas station because I guess they don't see him, and that's not even funny at all. But it's stories like that that just got me so steamed up today, and there was a ton of stories like that. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that issue of my pet peeve, so to speak, amongst other things that really got me mad about these scandals with the caucus was yesterday, and they find out that they were hand counting, the Democratic side were hand counting the votes for Hillary and what do you call it, Bernie Sanders. So you can't go by a fucking hand count, literally raising hands, and he said you can't do that. You can make up numbers. You can count somebody twice that way. That's not accurate. You're talking about a who's going to be running for president, this caucus that was in Iowa, and they're hand counting these fucking people. I mean, I can't believe that. So anyway, there was some goofy stories that a friend had sent me that are mixed in with mine, and here's one of them. Pasco woman uses defecated pants as a reason for stealing $199 worth of groceries. And Publix duty says. And by the way, that was another one that just really got me angry today. Is these people in L.A. fighting now. There are protests in these unions and these people picketing. Maybe not always unions. I don't think Walmart's. Well, they do have some unionized areas. We're all fighting about how they should get $15 an hour, and it's like, and it was like I said this a while back. I'm saying it again. Because they closed down a bunch of Walmarts, and I said this, and now it was proven in this one article. I don't know if I still have it listed in my mix, but they were saying the reason that Walmart had to close down some of these stores was because of the increase of what they're forced to pay their employees, and plus their health benefits. And that's exactly what I said, and this one article actually now did state that. So it just gets me so angry with this stuff. Anyway, this one I was just telling you about was this lady who defecated her pants. Was from Channel 8 News, Spring Hill, Florida. Deputies say that the Land O'Lakes woman used reusable grocery bags to steal $199 worth of groceries from this, this supermarket called Generado Publix grocery store. And then she claimed she walked out of the store without paying because she had defecated in her pants. So her excuse, okay, I see that. She basically used reusable grocery bags, filled them up with like $200 worth of groceries, and then just walked out of the store. And when she got caught, she said, well, the reason I'm leaving the store and I didn't pay for anything was because I just defecated my pants and I needed to leave the store. So that makes a lot of sense. I got to remember that one next time. Sorry about that. I still got a little bit of a cold. By the way, this next one's very gross. I don't know where my friend finds this stuff, but he seems to find them, these goofy stories. Mandatory.com. Guy discovers roommates' masturbation tissues now have penis-shaped mushrooms on them. And they actually do look like penis-shaped mushrooms. And it's really gross because they are, I don't know how you could get that much semen into these tissues because they are dirty tissues. I don't know if it's really all semen or is it actually did he urinate on them because they're really disgusting. They're in a large waste basket with a lid on there. One of those plastic ones, you basically snap the lid shut. Time to make mom proud again and telling your folks about this guy who discovered that his roommate was basically hoarding his post-masturbation tissues in a bin. In fact, he hid them so long that the penis-shaped mushroom grew out of them. And now you have to read this. So I'm not going to read it. So the wastebasket is like really filled, literally. It's like a size of a kitchen trash can, and it's filled to the top with masturbated tissues. So apparently. Now, I don't know if I believe this one. They do look like penis-shaped mushrooms on these tissues. But I always used to have this fear. I was like, yeah, you know what? Because I, watched all those bad horror movies from back in the 70s. So I always had this fear, because I have OCD, that, what if that sperm that I'm like jerking off out of my body, you flush it down the toilet, if you have some issue where you end up making some mutated monsters or humanoids that are come back and kill people. I always used to have that fear. I kind of still do, too. Anyway, yeah, there was another one he found, my friend. New York Post. Wow, I'm really redlining some spots. I'm kind of just let it go because it's better than not having me heard at all. New York Post. If this happens to you, you're masturbating too much. So where does he find this stuff? Oh, excuse me. I have no clue. But it was on the New York Post. What's your number? Whether you masturbate twice a week, twice a day, you probably have to set a figure in your head when it comes to your favorite pastime. Match or exceed that mark, and you'll start wondering whether you're doing it too much. Here's some good news, though. There's no magic number when it comes to a healthy masturbation habit, says Dan Drake, a certified sex addict therapist and clinical counselor. Well, you know what? People make a big deal about masturbation, but you know what? If it wasn't for masturbation, you would have probably more rapes going on because, the people who masturbate aren't going to be going around trying to jump on women or kids, infants trying to fuck them because they're taking care of the business the only way they know how, and it's not interfering or going to cause the endangerment of somebody else's life. Just to give you a heads up. So there's no harm in masturbating, trust me. However, I'm talking not only as a club member, but as a club president, or as the other way around. However, often you masturbate, it's not a problem until it starts affecting your life in a negative way, Drake explains. If you want to make the most of the two-person romps, check out How to Pleasure a Woman in this complete guide to becoming a master lover. It actually gives you like a list of things, and it's 5 things, I guess. And I'm not going to read all the way through, but I'll give you the bullet points. And it says you hurt yourself, your job or life suffers, you fail with a partner, you always think about it, and number 5 would be the last one. You tried to cut back, but it fails. Well, yeah, it does fail, but again, I'd rather have, hey, because I can't even get the time of day out of any woman at all. They kind of look at me like I'm some type of sex fiend pervert, but yet most of these are the ones who are the ones like a story I'll read where it's a double. The people who look that way at me are pretty much hypocrites, and I'll explain why. Because it's really parodying these stories. Unless I can find it real quick. No, I probably can't. Yeah, because I got all these sex offender stories, which, hate to tell you, does not entitle Walter in the name of any of them. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Oh, okay, here it is. Here's a good example of what I mean about, having a hard time with picking up women. And I don't even try because it's just a waste of time, to let you know. I mean, it's a real waste of time, just the looks I get. And here's a real good one. Now, this is on something different, but it kind of also at the same time proves my point, because I complain about this too. So I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because this really will. One, about the reverse racism in this one story, and 2, how women just victimize themselves and try to blame you. That's why I don't bother even trying to pick up women at all. I never did and never will. It was from ReaganCoalition.com, and I sent to a friend. It says, racist welfare queen attacks man for being white. What happens next? And you got to watch this video. This woman just glares at this guy, and it wasn't this guy was minding his own business, and for some reason, the guy standing behind this guy who's being victimized, literally being victimized by this black woman, is minding his own fucking business. So this guy decides to videotape this because he knew he must have seen something before he even started taping to go this far. But this woman just keeps on like glaring at him like the dirtiest looks. This black lady, she's like just glaring. It's like she's in front of him. She's got like these spandex knickers on, whatever you call them, because they only come up to like below her ankles. They're spandex. She's got a gut on her. She's not fat, but she's got a gut. And, she's just like staring at him, like get him like the evil eyes. And the guy's just trying to ignore her. He just wants to pay for his stuff and leave. Then she gets like, oh, you're looking at me. So that kind of look. So she backs off. I'm just explaining what happened in this video. And the guy tries to get in front of her because it's like, okay, she's not ready to check out, apparently. So then she starts yelling at him, call him a racist, and, you're not getting in front of me. I got black pride. You can't have the whitey man picking on me. I'm serious. I'm not even exaggerating. This is exactly what she does. She attacks this man. The cashier behind the counter, and actually the employees of the store are black women, and they were saying, don't harass our customers to this black woman. And so not even a woman. It's like, she's not that old. But the girl behind the counter, she was a black girl. She says, listen, you can't harass our customers. And she's trying to say, well, you got to stick up for each other. We got to stick up for each other. These white people are walking all over us. We can't let that happen. It's like the guy's minding his own fucking business. So there you go. I just killed two birds with one stone. The one side was women think that they're being victimized, and two, this whole race card thing that's just way out of hand. So anyway, it says race baiters are constantly whining about how racist white people are. This is what it says. But they ignore the fact that they themselves are the actual racist ones. This is a quote that I'm reading from this Reagan Coalition. In this video, a blatantly racist welfare queen attacks a man simply because he's white. And you got to see how it ends. I mean, I'm not making this up. This is exactly what this says and somebody videotapes. It's not even just stating it. It actually is on video. It's not made up. It's not doctored. So I just had to, with that whole thing of pushing my whole story about the masturbation thing. So I don't know what's going on in the back of me because I have my door open and stuff. I got a story. I just pulled it up. I have no clue what it's about, so I might as well read it at this point. I have too many stories, I know. Homeowner fatally shot alleged robber who responded to Craigslist ad. I think I read this a while back. This was in Colorado, I think. It says homeowner shot and killed one of two would-be robbers who responded to a Craigslist ad and tried to steal his vehicle. Yeah, I read that a long time ago, probably a week or so ago. I don't know. I don't know if you looked at. I did. I got it up. I'm not going to read it from realclearpolitics.com on the election polls. On the caucus that happened yesterday, and I didn't know that, but I thought at first because I couldn't make heads or tails of how to read this. But in Iowa, the caucus basically shows that I thought Trump was ahead, but actually no, Cruz is ahead, which Rush was predicting this would happen. And he was right. And Trump came in second. But I think Bernie Sanders is actually leading Hillary, which I hope happens. I seen today, I took a picture of it on somebody's car. I went over the Best Buys over in King of Prussia. Somebody had what do you call it? A Bernie Sanders thing on the back of their car. And you know what? I hate to say this. Hey, more power to you. Because if you get Bernie Sanders as your person you're going to elect as the person for the Democrat side, hey, more power to you because I know he's not going to win. I even made the joke with a friend. I said, at that point, no matter who we have running on the Republican side, we have a definite chance of winning. Hillary would be like, oh God, we're not going to win. I'm sorry, it's going to be really tough. Bernie Sanders, I don't think it would be a problem at all. So that this being said, I hope that Bernie Sanders gets the Democratic vote because the guy is such a socialist / liberal. He's communist, socialist, liberal. So more power if he gets that and takes it away from Hillary. I'll be more than ecstatic on that one. I'll be very pleased. So, hey, anyway, here's a nice enlightening story for those who are just completely stupid. But this was on ReaganCoalition.com. Democrat charged with murder wins re-election in a sworn in from jail. He was sworn in from jail. It's no joke. In the state of Indiana, it's hard to imagine that the city officials would ever had to do what they did on Friday, actually swearing an elected city councilman while he sat behind bars on a murder and drug charges. So that's no joke. That's the exact situation unfolding with the Democrat Robert Battle, who has won the re-election campaign in November despite having just been arrested on charges for from the federal government. He was sworn in behind bars of the Porter County Jail. I mean, that's really, really sad. So maybe this is an old story, but it was actually just posted because the dates are like showing a little bit further back. I guess they're just trying to make a point that how corrupt the Democratic Party is, and obviously it is. In September, the Battle, that's his last name, was arrested, no puns intended, on a charge of marijuana possession after a law enforcement's law enforcement stopped him for speeding in a construction zone and found 40 grams of pot in his vehicle. A month later, Battle was charged in a shooting death of a somebody, and yet he got reelected on top of all that stuff. And you're telling me there's no double standards there? Come on. I won't say why. You can figure it out. Opposing Views has one. South Carolina close to passing a former ban on Sharia law. So it looks like it's still, like, I thought that was a done deal. That's not going to go through. Now it's saying it possibly could. This is from the other day. No, actually, it says February 1st, so it is the other day, though. The South Carolina House passed a bill on January 28th that would ban Sharia law as a justification during trial. If the legislation is passed by the state Senate Republican government, Nikki Haley would have the choice of signing it into law. So this Sharia law is not a dead issue, I guess. Why would you want to sign in a Sharia law, which is basically for, it's a Muslim thing? Republican State Representative Chip Limhouse of Charleston sponsored the bill, which would ban not just Sharia law, but any foreign law from being cited within South Carolina court. So I'm confused. I'm confusing myself, actually, because they're saying that, according to the title, it says South Carolina close. It says close to. See, I thought it was close. No, it is close to passing the former ban on Sharia law. So I guess the ban would mean it wouldn't go through. Sharia law is a legal system drawn from the tenets of the Islamic holy book. Variations of the Sharia are the highest rule of the land in fundamentalist Muslim nations such as Pakistan, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. The framework has been criticized for constraining freedom of speech, enabling the abuse of women, and harsh legal penalties. So they're trying to really they were trying to force this law through in South Carolina. And again, let me just read the last part of that, what Sharia law consists of. And it's, like I said, it constrains the freedom of speech, enabling the abuse of women, and harsh legal penalties. So that means you can basically, if they pass this law, which I don't know what kind of idiot would, and these Democrats are trying to push how, we believe in equal rights for women, and you're trying to pass in these certain states, they're trying to pass this Sharia law, women are going to have no rights. They're going to be basically sex slaves starting at the age of 12, probably. And in the United States, you're going to try to pass a law like this. This is ridiculous. Anyway, another one from ReaganCoalition.com. School forces Islamic propaganda on a girl. Then her big bad Marine dad shows up. So there's an article on that. See, once again, they're trying to pass this Sharia law or these this Muslim beliefs onto these kids in even the schools, through the states. This was in Maryland. This story I just reading now. A Maryland public school has been accused of disseminating racial Islamic propaganda to students in a federal lawsuit filed on Wednesday. I read this one the other day, too, so I'm not going to go into much. According to Fox News, the TMLC, because it's La Plata High School in Charles County, filed a suit on behalf of John Wood, an 8-year-old Marine veteran, and his wife, Melissa, the parents of a teenage student at that school. They were trying to force this down this girl's throat. This belief. Again, this is basically on the same line as the Sharia law, because you're forcing people in these schools now, these like middle schools, in grade schools, are now being forced to learn the Muslim religion or belief. And now they won't allow Christianity to take place because it kind of says that in here. Because it says right here, I'm just looking at the lawsuit, also argued the curriculum focused only one day on instruction of Christianity, but 2 weeks on Islam. So there you go. It's exactly what I just said. They're pushing out Christianity and pushing in the Sharia law and the Islam, religion in our schools in the States. So, and, you have the freedom of speech and freedom of religion, but that's obviously changed a lot. And I hate to say it's who's in our government, who's running our government. It's like making this actually very possible. There was another one from Reagan Coalition. I have a lot of stories from that. Muslims say our national anthem is oppressive. Share the post if you're not ashamed of being an American. According to the recent reports from an Australian, the national anthem is part of an oppressive campaign of forced assimilation of the Muslim community. But yeah, they are really forcing their ways on all these countries that they have invaded at this point, pretending to be these refugees. They're like literally taking over everything. All these countries are being invaded by these migrants, these Muslims, and all they do is cause havoc. Another one for Reagan Coalition, Salama Muslims protest in support of Muslims who gang raped a 16-year-old. This one I might have read the other day. I don't remember. There's no getting around the passage in Korean that says it's okay to rape a non-Muslim. This is true, and this is why even opposed moderate Muslims are raping non-Muslim women and thinking they can get away with it, entitled Much. So there was an article, I guess it was in Korea. Let me see if I can open up my thing. They're not actually carrying out the rapes. They're just protesting in support of the rapist. So here we go. It's another part of the globe where, these protesters are protesting that you should be able to gang rape girls, underage girls in other countries, even if they're not Muslim. That's the standard we used to discuss extremists from moderates, isn't it? That's what it's saying. So they're basically saying, some girl got raped, a 16-year-old in this other country, and they were protesting that, hey, you can't take any, you can't do anything about this. This is our belief. I don't care if she's a Muslim or not. We're allowed to, as Muslims, to do whatever we want to do and rape any underage girl that we want to, and you can't do a damn thing about it because that's considered offensive. It says this Muslim migrant community in the UK, because it did say Korean, but now it's saying in the UK, of course, condemned this disgusting crime. And by discussing crime, I mean sending Muslims to jail for raping a woman, and a non-Muslim woman at that, without the word of 4 Muslim witnesses. So maybe it was at a Korean, because what do you call it, area. So I did skip around. I apologize about that. But the gist of my talking about that is, it is happening everywhere, by the way. They have these migrant communities everywhere. Germany, obviously the UK, France, Switzerland. I mean, every country has made accommodations for these migrants. And all they do is they go in large amounts of, groups of people, and they end up just raping and destroying these areas. And they just leave them like shitholes when as they plow through. Like, they leave these camps a mess, and they rape the women, our women, or the women from these other countries that are not Muslims. Anyway, there was another story just to take a little breather. It's not good, though. Daily Mail, school forced to build an impenetrable, it's a large fence, basically. Steel fence to stop children from breaking out and going to McDonald's next door. So I don't know where this is. It says high school in Perth builds fence to stop students from getting fast food. Excuse me. Warrenboro Community High School school's large new metal fence cost over $83,000. Students caused $70,000 worth of damage to the previous fence by cutting it, so they put a stronger fence up now. This principal of this K.O. Louise Graves said people would wreck the fence to get out. So, yeah, the old fence had barbed wire on the top and everything like that. They cut it, the kids cut it through the fence so they could just go over. And it's showing pictures. I'm not trying to be derogatory of any way, but they're leaving and they're showing like a KFC. So they're going out to get McDonald's and KFC. They literally leave the school premises. You're not allowed to do that during, your school day. But they literally tore. It was like a chain link fence originally that went at least like 8 foot, 9 foot high, and they cut right through it. So now they had to put a metal fence, like heavy metal bars fence around the school premises, which has cost the school a tremendous amount of money. And that's taxpayers' money, I hope you know. Anyway, here we go again. Opposing views, another rapist story. Man gets caught raping young girl. Mob makes him pay for it, though. The man in India was fighting for his life after an angry mob reportedly castrated him because they caught him raping a young girl. So they actually castrated the guy, too. That's pretty funny. Komar is his last name. 40 was reportedly found holding a young girl against a wall at this location in India state town and trying to rape her, reporters said, by the Inquisitor. A mob of people descended upon him after they heard the girl scream and then reportedly dragged him into a nearby butcher shop where they beat him with a stick for 1 hour and castrated him with a meat cleaver. So I don't think he'll have any problems anymore. They won't have any problems with him anymore. Good for them. We need to do that kind of stuff. Another Reagan Coalition story, video. 3 punks brutalize a veteran and dump alcohol in his face. This is the one I might have mentioned at the beginning of the show. And then the justice show up. It was in October 2015. A veteran in Illinois suburbs east of St. Louis was brutally assaulted by a group of 3 punks while at a gas station. The man was minding his own business, by the way. Though 3 months have passed since the attack, justice is finally being served, and all 3 thugs are now in police custody, according to KTV. So sorry about that. This happened back in October, and they finally are doing something about these thugs. And the video is very disturbing. I'll let you know. The Washington Park man was pumping gas at a mobile gas station when he was approached by and violently attacked by a group of thugs who beat and kicked the veteran into submission, poured alcohol on him, and ran over him with a car before leaving him to die. The video is rough. It's pretty graphic, and yet it's very disturbing, by the way. This really hit home for us because the young man is a veteran, declared Washington Park Police Chief Tony Talamanson. Quote, "It is horrible to think that you could go fight for your country, raise your right hand, and take an oath to say that you will fight for your country, and then you come home, and after fighting the enemies, you come home to a gas station and get beaten up. It's just tragic," Talamanson said at it. So if you want to see that, I just posted that somewhere down the line in my stories. The video is very disturbing, but people just got to realize once again what is going on and wake up what's going on in our country. So, another story from Reagan Coalition. There's a story about this man who tries to, American man tries to join ISIS, cries in court when he finds out his fate. According to recent reports, a Georgia man who wrote he was ready for the jihad had bought a one-way ticket to overseas and attempt to join the Islamic State group was just sentenced to time in prison. During the trial, Leon Nathan Davis II, also known as Abdul Wiki Kali, sobbed to the judge claiming he was an American. Not any longer, dude. Davis was sentenced to 15 years after pleading guilty to seeking help to help a known terrorist organization. He will be serving a maximum punishment for his crimes. Well, good for him. Fuck you, dude. You belong behind bars. Oh, good. I got a lighter story. Maybe I'll just wait on that. Oh, this is the one I was telling you about that really pissed me off, though. Overpass for America standing with the Constitution. Walmart tells $15 an hour protesters and union top to pound sand, closes stores. It says video, hashtag 04A, hashtag news. And this is exactly what I was telling you before. I kind of went into details about this. You got to watch the video for this. It's very disturbing that people are that stupid and they don't realize how they're destroying our country, especially L.A. California. I'm sorry. Well, L.A. is probably part of it anyway. Perhaps it's the local residents who live in the city of Los Angeles if they understood the basic concept of profit and loss, or perhaps understood economics rather than to rely on political hacks, the professional agitators, and self-serving unions for an honest discourse on their working conditions, Walmart would still be open and employing people. So it's what I said before. You got to pay all this extra money, and it's costing Walmart way too much money. So now Walmart has closed 150 stores in the West Coast. Rather than closing its doors within the improvised neighborhood in Chinatown, the demise of this particular store was in part due to the unrealistic understanding my career politician and activist on how business actually functions. And at the heart of this issue was the mandated new $15 minimum wage and the continued harassment by unions. I know I'm part of a union, so I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite. To be fair, Walmart is scheduled to close 154 store sightings. The number of factors, including financial performance as well as the strategic alignment with long-term plans. But the bottom line is they can't afford what these these liberals, this left wackos want. They want $15 an hour. They want full benefits for their jobs. And Walmart can't afford that without laying people off or closing stores down. That's exactly what happened. However, a big part of the equation is in the closing of the particular stores involved the continued disruption and in particular a demonstration in November of 2014 when the union-funded movement Generation Justice in Ecology project, thousands of protesters were busted in the protest against Walmart and destroyed the downtown area, even though the company only had one store in Chinatown. Last summer, union-led Flight for 15 minimum wage movement in Los Angeles proclaiming that Walmart wages war on workers and Walmart's wages war on planet Earth. What is seldom mentioned by the liberal establishment is the wage increase from $7.25 an hour to $10 an hour would raise wages for 16 to 24 million people, but would also kill 500,000 jobs, existing jobs. So yes, they wanted to raise their wages from $7.25 to $10 an hour, which was fine. Now they want to raise it to $15. So that's actually double of what they originally were getting paid. But by doing so, it's also going to eliminate between 16 to 24 million people's jobs in the process. Now, remember, though, this is also not included that they're going to have to pay for their health benefits as well. So there you go. Congratulations for being so stupid and wanting more and more and more for less. ReaganCoalition.com. I have another one. Older husband allowed to sleep with child bride on the weekend at Danish asylum. I read this one the other day. It came up again, though. But this time on Reagan Coalition. This basically just shared this post. If you think political correctness has gone too far. When Sharia law Sharia law becomes the official law in the EU, we see many bleeding heart liberals will be wishing they could turn it back. If it's only a matter of time before the Dutch women will clad head to head in this toe burlesque on how very progressive. So, sorry about this, rub my nose. With the mass Muslim migration in these countries, you're going to expect to see this more. It began to engage in the fight 15 years ago, was sanctioned on the brutal and extreme ideology. Sorry about that. By Western leaders in. You know what? Forget it. Sorry, I really fucked up that story. Let me just kind of rephrase what I was trying to say. How you like that? Because I'm not going to even try to erase this. It's not even worth it. But it was on Reagan Coalition, and again, this girl looks like supposedly she's like 15 or 14 years old. Yeah, because I'm looking at it now. These people that are these follow Sharia law in these other countries and all this other nonsense. These Muslims are if you pass Sharia law within your state, within your country, that allows these Muslims, according to that law, for these Muslim men, grown adults, to sleep with their 14-year-old brides or 15 years old, give or take. So, I said that before, and here are the stories. Here's another one of the stories, by the way. Different story. These are the stories that got me so upset this afternoon. Downtread.com. Family cries racism and Trayvon Martin after cops killed armed black scumbag. If you put dreadlocks on a pile of dog shit... Excuse me. But I am reading it as it's written, by the way. If you put dreadlocks on a pile of dog shit, that would be Henry Bennett. Even though he was only 19, he had an extended criminal record, and he was a real scumbag. On Saturday, he pointed a gun at a Palm Beach County sheriff's deputy, and now he is dead. The system works, basically, is what it's saying. So this was on downtread.com. It does say January 17th, 2016. So this was like this past month. It was a couple of weeks ago. It's not even like when this happened. This just came up now. However, if you go by what Bennett's family is saying, this is what racist police killings, and a relay on the Trayvon Martin shooting. Anyway, the Palm Beach Post reports that Saturday at Belle Glade, Florida, deputies attempt to pull over a car driven by a young woman with Henry Bennett in the passenger seat. The woman stopped in a driveway, and Bennett bolted from the car. A deputy gave chase, commanding the fleeing suspect to stop and get on the ground. Basically, Bennett had other ideas, and he turned around and pointed a handgun at the pursuing officer. The deputy fired 2 shots, and Bennett died. So there you go. Whoa, this is really long. So I'm not going to read this whole thing. I didn't realize how long it was. As often the case, the person who points the gun at the cop isn't the most law-abiding citizen. Bennett had a lengthy criminal history, including 4 arrests in 2015 alone. He was just been released from jail after pleading guilty to a pair of battery charges and he was also a suspect in a child abuse case and had multiple restraining orders against him. So, I won't go any further with this story. You can read the rest if you like to. It was just posted. It was by this guy, Brian Anderson. He is the guy who wrote this story on January 2017 of this year. So, again, it's just calling the race card, calling I'm a victim, cop killers, the whole thing. This guy had a long, lengthy criminal record, but yet he was the victim. And he tried to shoot a cop who was basically telling him, because the guy was fleeing for, who knows, they got pulled over for other reasons. Probably for, obviously, a traffic violation, but this guy just went way too far, and he ended up trying to shoot a cop and trying to run away and didn't try to shoot a cop, and he ended up getting himself killed, but it's not his fault, it's the cop's fault. I mean, if you believe that bullshit, I don't know. I don't even know how even to answer idiots like the people who actually take the side of the criminal. Anyway, I have one on American News. Please don't shoot me. Heartless teen accused of killing man while he walked his dog. This was in Philadelphia, so hey, that's my hometown. This was actually February 1st. Philadelphia police are searching for a 15-year-old boy who they said shot and killed a middle-aged man while he was walking his dog. Now remember, the kid was the victim. James Stoltenman, 51, usually brought his 13-year-old daughter along with for his nightly walks through his overbooked neighborhood, but on March 12th, he decided to go alone. He walks his dog, by the way, not his daughter or granddaughter. He was approached by 3 teenagers who attempted to rob him, and one of the teens opened fire, NBC 10 News reports. At one point, he did plead for his life. The homicide captain, James Clark, said that the news conference, he said, please don't shoot me, and they still shot him one time. Authorities have arrested these 2 suspects, a 15-year-old Brandon Smith and a 14-year-old boy whose name was not released. The 14-year-old is facing lesser charges after cooperating with the police. The hunt has begun for the prime suspect, Typhon Hamilton, who is the 15-year-old. He is believed to be the one who pulled the trigger. Clark told reports that the boy is considered armed and extremely dangerous. So there is a lot more. If you want to read that, you can see that on American News, but this was right in my home area, not too far from where I live, couple miles of Philadelphia. These 2 kids, 2 teenagers. So, they're, again, it's just like, these people, and I blame our government, I blame the media, that they put in these people's head, these kids and minorities of our country that were born in this country, not the illegal ones, that, they convince these people they are victims, and the only way they can get justice is by attacking innocent people. So this is ridiculous. And like it says, they killed a man who just basically was minding his own business. It says police found Stoltman, the guy who was walking his dog, still clutching the dog's leash in one hand and holding a flashlight in the other. The police had found him dead. So, yeah. Probably the way I read it, I didn't do a very good job, so I apologize. But this is the kind of bullshit that got me really upset today. That's what I'm trying to say. And my question is, when is this? When are people going to actually take responsibility? When is our government? There's something I got to look for. When I get to it, I'll let you know. Where if Trump actually wins, so it was stated somewhere, if Trump actually wins, the Republican, runs president, that a lot of the government officials are going to basically resign, and they're basically, majority of them are all Democrats. So it's like, yes, I hope he fucking wins. I really do. Anyway, there was a story I got from San Francisco, from Fox 29. I'm sorry. San Francisco school officials debate offering condoms to middle schoolers. So there you go. San Francisco, California, condoms for middle school students. That's the proposal San Francisco Unified School District officials are set to consider at their school board meeting on Monday night. That was like this last night. Giving contraceptives to middle school kids. That's ridiculous. I got to take a pause for a minute, so I apologize, because I got to turn on the outside lights since it's really dark. All right, I'm going to see if this works. Okay, that came up a little bit loud. Yeah, I'm just back, so I just took a little bit of a breather. I had to turn on some lights. It got extremely dark, and, people come home, my parents and stuff, they, need to see to get in the house. Hopefully I didn't screw up what I left off. Anyway, I don't think I read this one yet. ReaganCoalition.com. There's a story. Air Force directly refuses Obama's orders to make this stand against him. According to the recent reports, a new study from the Air Force had just confirmed that guns are the best defense in mass shooting situations. One would think that was common sense, but then there's our president. There's President Barack Obama. As it states, reports indicate that the Air Force has sent out a letter to all commanders asking them to authorize airmen to carry guns even when they are off duty or out of uniform. They also stipulated 3 programs to make sure that the armed service members are strategically situated to take action in the case of a massacre on their bases. So, basically Obama wants to keep these people defenseless, which, hey, there was that movie that was made, same situation, wasn't there? Similar situation, at least. Let me see what Fandango has. Because I can't remember the name of the movie. I have a vague idea what it was called. Sorry, I just bumped my thing. Ooh, 50 Shades of Black's out. I got to check that out. Actually, maybe it's not out, the movie, or it's playing in small amount of theaters. But I thought it was called like 13 Hours or something like that, which I thought was playing, but I guess not. I think that's what it's called. It's a political film about those. Yep, 13 Hours, A Secret Soldier of Benghazi. So just remember, when you think of this stuff, hey, we shouldn't have our military people be able to carry guns. That's horrible. We can't do that. But there was a movie called, basically it's supposed to be, obviously also against not only what happened where these people and our people died. I have to look at the premise of this film so I can explain it better. But Hillary was also, and our President Obama was responsible for this happening. 13 Hours, A Secret Soldiers of Benghazi Synapse, or, well, not synapse, that's a brain thing. Synopsis, whatever. Basically, the what it's about is what I'm trying to look for. 13 Hours, A Secret Soldiers of Benghazi is an action thriller based on the 2014 non-fictional book written by journalist Mitchell Zerkoff with the Annex Security Team. The film depicts the harrowing true story of the attack on the U.S. Embassy, that's what I'm looking for, outpost in Benghazi, Libya, on September 11th, 2012, which killed 4 Americans, including U.S. Ambassador Christopher Stevens. So, they basically were held defenseless, and they were asking for help and ignored by our president and also by Hillary, who is, what is it? She's like Secretary of State or something? I got to look that up, too, because I can't remember. I just don't understand this whole thing, though. I actually got to go see that movie. I'm trying to look it up. Hillary Rodham Clinton. Yep, she's the Secretary of State under President Barack Obama, who was also is responsible for what happened to those men overseas, but for some strange reason, it is not coming back to harm her in any sense of the word. Now, this is another thing. As I said earlier, that Senator Ted Cruz did win the Republican caucus, which was really cool. Now, the thing is, they've been trying to tear him apart as well as Trump by saying something about these government letters that he lets get disclosed. Now, that is a big issue now for everybody to hear about, but Hillary has gotten caught with the documentation that got released from her was so top secret that it should get her basically serving some jail time, but she has not gotten anything against her. Nothing. They're just they're trying so hard to push it under the rug, and it's like there's a big lump now from doing so, and they're not changing the situation. They're just like, oh, well, there's no harm what she did. What are you talking about? She didn't do anything wrong, but they're making up these stories about, I believe they're not true on, what do you call it? On Cruz and saying, oh, look what he's done. And now they're making a big deal out of it. It's like, it doesn't even scratch the surface, in comparison to what Hillary did, but they were acting like it does, that it's worse than what Hillary did. It's not even true. Anyway, I found something on viralsurvival.com, and it's basically was titled, that was just enough. That you don't need to read anymore. I don't need to read anymore. Breaking news, Obama is now going beyond gun control, calling for confiscation, basically taking the guns away that are out there from people's hands. In addition to cutting back on who can obtain a gun, he's trying to take away guns from people as well. The ones that people already do possess, have in their possession, I should say. Anyway, there was another one from ReaganCoalition.com. Clinton, the Iowa caucus exposed, where they were caught committing a voter fraud on video. That was the one where they're hand counting the votes by having people raise their hands. Hillary Clinton's campaign appeared to have committed a voter fraud in Polk County last night during the Democrat Iowa caucus, and there is a video to prove it. It's actually, yes, it's on video. This is very serious criminal accusation, as a Reddit user explained. So basically, the caucus, they have, had a hand count everyone depending on what side they were sitting on. As well, when it came time to do the second count, the numbers were off. The first vote breakdown was like this. First votes were 215 for Sanders and 210 for Clinton, 26 for Mallory, and 8 undecided, and 459 total. And then the second vote, it was 232 for Clinton, 224 for Sanders, and 456 total. So somehow they lost 3 people, but Clinton votes went up by 14. So basically what happened was that Hillary's team didn't take the time to do a full recount. Instead, she just added the new people who joined the second vote, which clearly wasn't an accurate count. And they're going to get away with it, trust me. So anything just to make sure Hillary gets the proper amount of votes. This was pretty entertaining. I saw this actually on the morning call. 13 Lehigh Valley businesses cited for liquor law violations. And it's like places like, just read down the list of names of different places that got in trouble were TGF Fridays, South Mountain Beverage, Dewey Fire Company, number 1502 Durham Street. Florence Italian Grill. Cedarville Democratic Association. The Jackson Club. The Original Tavern House. Ovation Food Services. Lone Star Steakhouse. Leon's. Easton Cafe. And Fred A. Snyder Post number 535 Home Association. Anyway, the bottom line is the State Police Bureau of Liquor Control Enforcement announced citations for 13 restaurants and bars in the Lehigh Valley excuse me, and Northampton counties that allegedly violated liquor laws in the recent months. So you can find that on the morning call. Yeah, it's pretty scary. Here's another disturbing story I found on OpposingViews.com. Disturbing video shows a woman brutally punishing her daughter, and it's caught on video. Somebody actually videotaped her. Why didn't they stop the woman from beating the crap out of her little kid? Or stepchild, I should say. It says trouble and footage out of China shows a stepmother relentlessly beating a young girl because a child wet herself. The stepmother kicks, punches, and whips her girl for over 4 minutes as the child screams, and everything was caught on video. I personally would have stepped in and stopped it, not been videotaping it, but that's a different story. The video began with the woman whipping the girl on the front of her legs repeatedly with a stick, and then she pauses periodically to scold the girl before resuming the beating. And there's more to that story. Again, it was on Opposing Views, which I think was originally probably found on the Daily UK Mail. Another story from ReaganCoalition.com. People are finally fighting back against the criminal Muslim immigrants after the teenage Muslim immigrant stabbed and murdered a Swedish woman who was actually helping him relocate to the country. The citizens, he ends up killing the woman who was helping them, this immigrant. Citizens in the country are finally fighting back against Muslim immigrant criminals. At least they're doing it in some country. Some are calling them neo-Nazis, but there's still nothing in the pamphlets they dropped before the attack that points to this. It just basically said, I'm going to read a little bit. It said the mob of black-clad masked men went on a rampage in around Stockholm's main train station last night, beating up refugees and anyone who did not look like they were ethnically Swedish. I mean, they're finally getting fed up with this. It said before the attack, a group of 200 people handed out these leaflets with the message "Enough now." The Swedish media reported that these thugs allegedly linked to Swedish football hooligans, the hooligan scene, were targeting unaccompanied minors with a foreign background. The mob were wearing all black and these armbands, gathered with the purpose of attacking these refugee children. In Stockholm, police spokesman Tohag said, sorry about that. Police are looking into the leaflets that were handed out by these masked people before the attack. Authorities confirmed that at least 40 to 50 people went on the rampage around 9 o'clock on Friday, so this was a couple days old, attacking these migrants. But the bottom line is, these people at least from Sweden in this story, are fed up with this bullshit. They're tired of seeing their people from their country getting, the women getting attacked, these girls getting attacked, and nothing being done whatsoever about it. So they had enough. And now they're finally, they're stepping up the plate. They're retaliating these countries. Here's an interesting story. American News, a groped woman ignored by police takes matters in her own hands. She actually photos the person who was groping her, and this person actually had previous charges on groping women and grabbing their breasts. But, the only way anything was going to get done, this woman actually had a photo of this guy and found out he had a long series of sexually assaulting women in public. It says the Seattle woman used a social media to shame a suspect groper. This woman named Julia, 28, took a photo of an alleged sex offender, Daryl Sharama. So even though I'm pronouncing it wrong, you can kind of get a gist. Who reportedly walked up to the woman on an empty sidewalk and touched her inappropriately, the Daily Mail reports. She followed the alleged groper and used her cell phone to snap photos as he apparently tried to apologize in what she believes was damage control. But they found out later on when that this guy has been doing this repeatedly to other women. Police have identified him as being under Department of Corrections supervision, but while reporting the assault, the officers would not take basically this woman's images as evidence. They would not take her, the pictures she had taken of this man, even though he was, had prior convictions on groping women. I had no idea this had happened. I had 13 followers on Twitter when I started. This woman told Q13 Fox. The Seattle Police Department acknowledged that her frustrations and confirmed by a detective was contacted by the DOC officers after they identified the man in the photo. The photos the victim had uploaded to Twitter account. So basically, she posted these pictures on Twitter, and before the Chicago police weren't going to do anything, and then they actually did do something about it because this man had a history. It says right here, this Shamira is said to have a history of groping, including grabbing a woman's breast in Seattle's University Village shopping center in 2011 as she sat at a bench, and grabbing another woman in 2002 on the University of Washington campus in Seattle. The Seattle Times had reported. So this guy has a history of just groping and grabbing women inappropriately without their consent, and they really don't do much about it because the man repeatedly just does it over and over again over the years. So, yeah, I fucked up a lot of stories. I'm going back to my bad habits of saying I'm not going to read these stories, and I do anyway. So that's not good. I'm trying to leave the better stories for last that are not so offensive, or just yeah. So I'm getting these other ones. So I'm just going through because actually some of these stories I've actually already read, and I'm just kind of cutting back. Okay, I'm trying to get all the nasty stories out first. There was another one that a friend I think sent me, or I found at dreamanddemon.com, because I usually find those on my own. Boston, Miami. This Asian woman accused of hitting a woman with her car and then dragging her the woman that she ran over. This Asian lady had ran over this woman for nearly 3 miles. She just basically dragged the body. So it was a deliberate attempt, too. Police have arrested a 45-year-old Xian Ying Zhu after she allegedly hit a woman and then dragged her underneath her car for nearly 3 miles. According to the police, Zhu struck the 56-year-old man. I apologize. So she ran over a 56-year-old man. I thought it was a woman, so I really fucked that one up. This 56-year-old man and his 48-year-old wife. So he ran over 2 people, so maybe she was dragging the woman. A 48-year-old wife, as they had crossed the road earlier Monday morning. The man was treated at the scene, but his wife was dragged away by Zhu's SUV as she drove from the scene. So she ran over two people, pedestrians. Pedestrians always have the right of way, just a hint. And she drug the body of this man's wife, because this lady in this SUV hit two people. And she tried to get away, but she was dragging one of the victims underneath her car, or SUV, for 3 miles. Zhu drove 2 miles down Interstate 93 with the poor woman stuck underneath her vehicle before stopping. Zhu's lawyer says that his client was not aware that she had run over anyone until she found the woman underneath her car and tried to help. Yeah, you know what? That's a bunch of bullshit. You really believe she didn't know what she did? I believe that. If you believe that, I have a nice piece of oceanfront property I can sell you, actually in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. You know, it's up for bids. It's only like a couple $1 million. Come in, write me, and I'll give you. I'll work out the agreement on the cost. You know, whatever the settlement. Anyway, friend Todd sent this afternoon, which is no longer. It's like 6 o'clock now. Idiot. It was from mandatory.com. Idiot in pickup truck pulls a gun on a biker. This was just that was today. Yeah, a group of supermotos can be annoying. You know, people on motorcycles, they go all together as they usually clog up the road and slow down traffic, but just curse them out under your breath and let like regular folks do. But this one particular person could not stop by just letting that go. Do not do. It says, don't do what these idiots wearing gas station glasses did and pull a gun on a biker at a stoplight, because they videotaped the whole thing on their phone. The hoopla began when the bikers noticed an idiot number one, also known as the guy behind the wheel of the pickup truck, looking pissed off and taking pictures of the biker's license plates. The bikers returned the favor and took pictures of the pickup truck's license plate. The guy in the truck clearly did not like that, because when one of the bikers pulled up beside the idiot number two, also known as the guy riding shotgun, to figure out that the chaos was about to happen. Let's not forget that the idiot number three in the back was who kept rolling down his window to say nonsensically that things, followed by him quickly closing up his window again. I know I didn't make any fucking sense. I realize that. This is just another reminder that no one ever on the road is a sane human being. So, in other words, of the biker, let's all take it easy. I'm sorry, I really fucked up. But yeah, this truck driver, and they're showing the video right in the still shot. The guy is holding at the biker's head from his point of view, because he's probably even have one of those Go cams, I would assume, on his helmet, because some people do wear helmets still. I think they did. The guy is holding point blank at his head a gun. You cannot do that. No offense. The guy in the truck is holding a gun to the biker's heads. One of the bikers' heads. Now, no offense. I see that all the time where you have these bikers who ride side by side. I really don't give a fuck. Honestly, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I heard it's illegal, but I really don't give two shits. But these people went one step further and had to start a ruckus and even pulled a gun on these guys and on the motorcycles. I'm not making up, on the mics, the motorbikes. I can't ever say that word right. So I promise you that is the last story I can screw up. So good news. So here's my entertainment news to finally end the night. I just got notice that Foreigner is playing at Sands Bethlehem. That'd be pretty cool, but I don't like a lot of their music. But it would be still pretty cool. There was a story that, yes, Eli Roth has been talking about making a shark movie or a Jaws-like movie. So he's finally going to make, they said that's his next film to be made. He got tired of seeing all these campy movies about sharks that just kind of ruin the effect of Jaws. So he's actually going to make a movie based upon a book by Steve Alton that was put out, I think, in 96. I'm looking at the year it was put out. 97, I was off by 1 year. And it was a book, again, written by Steve Alton. It was on the New York Times bestsellers list. And it was a book called Meg, as in Megalodon, a novel of deep terror. So, that's exactly years ago what do you call it had done. God, what is his name? On the Peter Benchley book, Steven Spielberg made a movie out of Peter Benchley's book, Jaws. So now that's exactly what Eli Roth wants to do, but with a different novel that was on the top sellers list. And again, the book was called Meg, a novel of deep terror. You can find this one actually on iHorror.com, so that I'm kind of actually would look forward to that. Just want to give people a heads up, not peoples. Another story was I had, all entertainment at this point, comicbook.com, Elizabeth Banks to play Rita Repsola in the Power Rangers reboot movie. She was a chick that played in that God, I can't remember. The Hunger Game movies. She was a wacky chick with different colored wigs on or whatever who represented, the weird world in those Hunger Game movies. She's actually going to be the main villain now in a reboot, and probably might be a little bit promising in a reboot movie of the Power Rangers. So obviously, if they're going to get her, she played like a main character in the Hunger Game movies. This chick named Elizabeth Banks. Obviously, it'll probably be on a higher budget because Power Rangers is kind of a campy type movie, in my opinion. I mean, TV show for kids. But now she's a pretty hot looking lady too, Elizabeth Banks. I just had to look at other pictures to remind myself what she really looks like. But yeah, now she's going to be playing in a Power Ranger. Wow. Yeah, she is really hot. Didn't realize how hot she was. She got spandex on, and they got one with her showing her ass off. Sorry, I just got distracted because of that. I'm trying to think of the character because she looked really different in the Hunger Games. Because she looks very different in those Hunger Games movie with the character she played because she was on a lot of makeup. Again, I just didn't realize how hot she was, especially in those as they put yoga pants. She actually does have real spandex on in one scene, and it's red spandex, so you really get to see her ass. And it would make baby Jesus cry looking at it. Trust me, it's really hot. I might have to pause again because I didn't realize I would have distractions. So I told you about the Mega movie, the Megalodon movie. That's be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. Story I got from Blastra.com. They said Firefly and Stargate Atlantis star joins the cast of DC Legends of Tomorrow. That's pretty cool. I might actually have to get that. Order that so I can watch the series when it comes, on iTunes or something. I might consider, because Doctor Who now will be off for officially probably a year and some change before it comes back, and this is a time travel show as well as a story about superheroes, so I'm all for that. So I might actually have to do that. But yeah, they don't give her a name though. I don't know. I don't recognize this person, so I don't know. And what is arguably the best geek news of the day, the Firefly and Stargate Atlantis Alum has joined Alum ALUM has joined the cast of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. See, people that probably watch those certain shows would know who I'm talking about because I have no clue how to pronounce her name correctly. Anyway, I might have mentioned this before. I think this was funny. I did mention it before. But it was actually from hotair.com in case any Iowans are still trying to decide the last few minutes before the caucus begins. This was the other day, obviously, because it was last night the caucus had taken place. They ought to seal the deal for Trump because, that being said, if you want to make America great again, calling a quarter of a federal workforce ain't the worst place to start. To sweeten the pot further, it's mostly the Democrat federal workers who are considering on quitting if we get Trump as president. So I thought that was really, really funny. So it's just more of a reason why you want to really vote for Trump almost. You know, one good reason too. Anyway, I saw this on Facebook, and it is really interesting because I never knew it had existed. But there was a McDonald's that was actually afloat. It was like on a bay, like kind of like a boat that was permanently docked. But it was a McDonald's, and it's like under the vintagenews.com. Vintagenews.com. Or it says, the vintagenews.com is the way you read it. It says the Vintage News. There's a creepy float of McDonald's that has been abandoned for nearly 30 years. Now, back in the day when they first made this, it looked really cool. I mean, I'm serious. It's really big. It's a boat that was designed. It was a floating McDonald's. It was because we have that down in Philadelphia. We have a boat that's actually a restaurant. And this was the same thing. It was like basically it was a boat that was, built. It was, but it was a McDonald's, a McDonald's boat. And it says the McBarge, officially named the Friendship 500, was a McDonald's restaurant built on the barge for Expo 86 in Vancouver, British Columbia, moored on Expo grounds in Vancouver, False Creek. It was the second floating McDonald's location in the world, first being in St. Louis, Missouri, intended to showcase future technology and architecture. Although the floating design allowed for the barge to operate in a new location following the exhibition, this basically derelict big bridge has been anchored, emptied, in barred inlets since 1991. Amid industrial barges and an oil refinery. So it was put for this expo, since I really screwed that up, and it was used for a short period of time on what would be the future, I guess, of this new kind of McDonald's on a boat, a McDonald's boat physically. You can see the pictures; it's really cool looking. Has basically been abandoned for almost since 91, so that's 91, 2001, almost 20 years, over 20 years, almost 25 years. So most of these stories I've already read, so I don't have to read them again. I read even the one on the condoms. Apologize, I think you might hear some background noise at this point. So anyway, there was one I had. It's not much to read, so it's comingsoon.com. New International Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice trailer hits. And it looks like it was in the Asian countries. That's the best way to put it. Nothing that spectacular. I've seen everything before. It just got, a different narrator from over, that part of the globe. Now hyping the upcoming movie of Batman versus Superman. That's the Dawn of Justice. That's all. Anyway, it actually did catch my eye because what looked like a very rather attractive young lady who is a cheerleader ends up being a transsexual. She looks like your average cheerleader, it state. It was from somebody who placed it up who is a transsexual themselves on Facebook, who I am friends with. It was from Deply.com. She looks like, again, it's titled, she looks like your average cheerleader, but when you look closer, she's making history. It takes courage to stand up for what you believe in, but what kind of courage does it take when the thing you believe in is yourself? One teenager has what it takes and is standing up for what she deserves. And again, I think it's either I don't know if it's a transsexual or a transgender. She definitely looks like a girl, but it is a boy. I don't know. Because I kind of know the difference now, transgender and transsexual. I'm trying to look because I really didn't read it. It's an interesting story, but apparently it. Let's see. I think she's actually a transgender. She was born a boy. She's now a girl, but she's a cheerleader. Angry Fuentes is in her senior year at Dinar High School in California. She's making history when Anir first tried out for her high school cheerleading team. She didn't make it. Now, a year later, Anir is the first openly transgender student to be a cheerleader, cheerleading a team in her country. She tried out identifying as a boy, saying all she wanted was to dance and cheer. Anir originally identified as a gay, but she always felt like a girl. She really can pass as a girl. She's really good. Trust me. So I got to look up again because I honestly did get this confused on what it's transgender and transsexual. So let's see what they say because I just read it and I can't remember what I read. She tried out as a boy. She couldn't get on. She tried out as a girl, and she is a boy. I don't know. She's making. Well, she is a boy. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. So I apologize. I'm not trying to be rudimentary. I'm not trying to be rude about this. I just don't know. Sorry about that. Transgender. I think transgender means she actually got the surgery done. It says transgender, denoting or relating to a person whose self-identity does not conform to basically who they are. Okay, so still technically it's a gay male who tried out for cheerleading and did not get the spot. But when she was in drag, so to speak, and she tried out for the cheerleading team again, because technically she's a gay male, she did successfully become a cheerleader. And honestly, it is really good because honestly, it does look like a girl. I'm not even kidding. She does look like a girl cheerleader. She doesn't look like a male cheerleader. She could definitely pass for a girl. Some of these people that are are drag queens, so to speak. That's the best way to put it. I think they can fool you, and that would be definitely one of those times that I am completely fooled. I didn't know. Anyway, I have one story from comicbookmovie.com. The Joker has the last laugh in the new promo video for Suicide Squad. It's light on new footage, but we do get to hear a much clearer version of the Joker's Jared Leto, is it? Creepy laugh in the new promo video for Suicide Squad, which was released on social media today. Now, that's going to be out in August, that movie. Originally, it was not supposed to come out until next year. They bumped it up, I think. Obviously, then. I had to post this in. It was on Horror News or HorrorFreakNews.com. They always do it every month, like the movies of the month. They have them for 2016 on Netflix. So they got the movies that this month are being pushed or promoted for Netflix by this website is Jennifer 8, Lizzie Borden. There was always a joke about Lizzie Borden. I don't know. Somebody used to make a joke saying Lizzie Borden. I never understood that. I didn't know that was a real person or a fictional character. Para Alicia. Never heard of it. Scooby-Doo, the movie. Scooby-Doo, the movie. And The Returned. They were the movies being promoted this month. So that's pretty cool, I think. Got some people who have looked at my stuff. That's funny. A friend commented or posted something on my thing on, what do you call it, not using suntan lotion. Gwyneth Paltrow. I really do like her acting, though. I really, really do. She played in Shallow Hal years ago, and it was a really good movie that made me laugh. You know what? That was the last of my story, so that's good. Hopefully I can kind of mesh this together because I did turn off my thing, and I'm using Audacity, so I'm not too familiar how to stop and start things up as easily, but I hope I did it right. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed what I said. I apologize for all the screw-ups I did tonight, and I am signing off for now. I'm going to stop my recording. Have a good evening now because I'm actually doing my show later because now it's like 6:30 Tuesday night. So thanks again for listening to me, and signing off for now.